Hi, welcome to a short little video that I'm putting out. It's going to explain a little bit about what's happening with the ranged hunter weapon changes in Mist of Pandaria. I've not seen this information expressed anywhere else, and that is the fact that all ranged weapons, so guns, crossbows and bows, are having their DPS stat doubled. Okay, so let's take some examples of weapons as they stand in the game at the minute. Let's look at the best ranged weapon you can get, which is Vishanka, Jaws of the Earth, Heroic from Madness of Deathwing, item level 406, DPS 1060.2. That's as it stands at the minute in Mr. Pandaria. The bow has it's the same item level, but the DPS has been very nearly doubled to 2120.3. It's 0.1 out, but it's essentially doubled. And the agility is the same, and the stamina is the same, and the additional damage that it has a chance to fire off is exactly the same as well. But it's not just for Vishanka, Jaws of the Earth, it's essentially every ranged weapon in the game at the minute. So the weapon I have on my main is Horrifying Horn Arbalest, item level 410. In live it does 1002.5, and in Mr. Pandaria it does 2005.1. So I'm quite happy about that. But why would Blizzard do that? Why would they just give us all a massive DPS increase? That seems a bit weird, doesn't it? Well, not really, no, because one of the things they're doing in Mr. Pandaria to ease up creating boss loot tables, and also the amount of weapons and things that they have to create for loot on bosses, is they're getting rid of a slot for every class, as I understand it. Hunters are no exception. We're losing the melee slot, so normally we have a two-hander, probably a polearm, usually a polearm. If you've not seen a polearm, maybe you'll have a couple of one-handed daggers, for example. But we're losing the melee slot, and with that we're losing a whole lot of stats as well. Normally it's not our primary stat, it's normally agility, crit, mastery, haste. The DPS on that shouldn't actually affect the DPS that we're outputting. So in a way it's quite interesting. Instead of giving us those secondary stats, they're boosting what is our most effective stat as a hunter, which is the DPS. That's the easiest way to increase your DPS, is to get a weapon which does more DPS on it, a ranged weapon. So now I figured they'd do it a couple of other ways instead of actually just increasing the DPS. That seems, in fairness, that's a really easy way to do it. The other two ways I thought they would deal with it would be to just potentially give all of our gear an item level increase. So at level 85 maybe they could increase the item level for all gear by 1 or 2 points, and that would in a way give us more agility and crit and all those other secondary stats, and that might work its way out. Bearing in mind that item we're losing, it only has those secondary stats on it that we care about. The other way I figured they would deal with it, and this is already in game, was that the Dragon Soul raid that we're all doing at the minute is getting a progressive buff on it. So we're doing more DPS because of that, and therefore when patch 5.0 hits, when we lose that melee weapon, we would essentially be kind of rolling back a couple of weeks, but we'd still be doing sufficient DPS to get the bosses down. That works for Dragon Soul. It wouldn't work for any content before that. So if you went back to Firelands after 5.0, you'd be doing less DPS than before. So in a way, what they've done is it's a kind of an elegant thing. I've got a funny feeling though that come patch 5.0 we're all going to be doing a shit ton more damage than we were doing before. That's not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, it's a pretty awesome thing. Okay, and that's all I've got now for now. I can't really get onto the realms to test that out because there seems to have been a crazy infestation of gigantic magenta cubes that have invaded Azeroth. It's making playing the game an absolute nightmare at the minute. I hope to have more footage for you when that problem's been sorted out, but until then, just sit back and bask in the glow that is double DPS.